Hey there, welcome to CNT Collectibles. I'm C. Hope you are doing well. All right, let's look at some outfielders and the price action. Price is truth. Part one for me of when I'm collecting is to identify my targets, obviously. So that's where the Hall of Fame tracker comes in. Those are my higher level targets. I'll stray from that from time to time, but I'm not gonna spend a lot of money on it. But if I am gonna start putting money into players, I want to make sure I evaluate risk reward, and I don't pay attention that much to it because I just kind of hang on to guys after I buy them, unless they fall off the tracker. Then I'll dump them or whatever. But if I'm going to put in money, I feel better about not buying at peaks or anything like that. Just trying to find a good price, and so that's what this is all about here. So we'll just look at some of the outfielders that are higher level targets. We'll start off with none other than the highest level target for modern players is probably Mike Trout, and so he continues to grind lower. He's at the bottom of his range, so expect a little pop out of that next sale. However, that longer-term trend is down. So if you look at the long-term trend, he has broken that uptrend. We could draw this probably a few different ways, but however you slice it, this is a downtrend here. So we are starting to see compression in the declining wedge here, which does pretend a breakout at some point. But while you're within it, the trend remains down. And so for me, I'm just going to continue to wait. There's lots of buying on the way up here, so it's difficult to say, where's the solid level of support or anything like that. We'll know the bottom is in once we break this and start to see some buying, and then we can kind of mark this as our low, which would be, right now it's sitting around $5,000, and maybe you see it, a few ticks lower. But you're probably coming close to a bottom or whatever, but we'll let the market tell us what it is. So for me, it's a wait and see. Mookie Betts, look at that first Bowman, and the risk reward, is kind of neutral on this one here, so I'll mark this as the bottom on this one here. Mookie obviously is a high level long term target. So when we did the right fielders, got some friendly conversation going with a couple people in the comments, and I always appreciate that. I enjoy the conversation, and they say maybe he should be in now, and I say, you got to give him a little bit of time, but I think the big reason you got to give him some time is he's got 9 years of service time. You need 10 to get into the Hall, but more importantly, I think we all agree that yes, this is a Hall of Famer for the most part. Probably your best target outside of Trout for modern players that aren't already kind of in here. So draw this as support. Use that as your marker. Right around that $600 area, something like that. So you're looking at $1,000 right now, and I'd sure like to get it for below that. But the market may not let me. That's how it goes. If we look at shorter term, we've got some pretty decent support here, and so look for some higher prices out of Mookie. And I'm just going to watch for the time being on this one here. Again, I want it lower. I'm not going to expect 600 or whatever it is dollars or anything like that. But if I could get something cheaper than the 1,000 that's at now, that's where I'm interested. And my goal for next year is to pick up one of these cards here. So we'll see. We'll keep watching. But again, I think the prices are going to go higher, and they're going to go higher without me for the time being here. So Juan Soto, that Bowman first. So after the big trade, we've seen a rip here, and so a lot of people saying, let's is it time to buy, Juan Soto? And of course not. It's the off season. There's not a lot going on. There's very few relevant players, and this is one of them, Ohtani. It's like, well, just sit back and watch here. And so prices have spiked into the top of his downtrend here, and so maybe he breaks out, and it could become a $3,000 card. Where you've got the previous levels of resistance, but I think if you pull back into this area, that 1,500 area or something like that point of congestion, then maybe a better entry point here. So here's another one where it's like sit back, watch, and come back. And for people that are lamenting missing out on this pop, patience. You missed out on not a whole lot here because prices are really back to where they were beginning of the year or something like that, which wasn't a bad time to buy either. So very few people got that price down there. Good on them. So you haven't really missed out, and I think if you wait, you're probably going to get a better opportunity here. Bryce Harper, out of sight, out of mind, bottom of the range, high level target, and there you go. So if you're looking for Harper, the last few times we've been down here, it has been worth pulling the trigger if that's what you're looking for here. Ronald Acuna Jr., same thing. $1,000 is your lower end of the range before the season. Highlighted that one as a player to target at that area. Seemed like a good price to purchase, and that's kind of worked out here. 1.8 $1,800 or whatever is kind of your top end of the range. So it's sitting at $1,500 now. Not a lot to do at this time. Get up closer to $1,800. Pull the trigger if it gets closer to 1,000. That's probably your buy point. So if you're taking notes and wanting to buy these players, just wait for something closer to 1,000. May not get there, but give it a little bit of room. But if you look at $1,000, $1,200 or something like that, that may be the price for that Bowman First and a 9.510. So these are all the Bowman First when I could find them in that 9.510 with an auto. So just the base stuff here. Julio Rodriguez, top of the range here. Very thin volume. Could bust out. Who knows here. So if it does break out and you see some purchases here, then we've established a new range. Your risk reward sets up favorably. And your upside is, $1,600, $1,700 or something like that. But for now, you're at the top of the range. Risk reward sets up unfavorably. And you want to wait for pullbacks. But that's so thin. Who the heck knows what happens with that one there. But again, another player that's going to be a high level target. Sitting at his current price of $1,000, it's like I might be more interested in waiting for Acuna to pull back to that number here. Obviously, he's a talented guy, and there's no question about that. But I would prefer to wait. When you're looking at a lot of these younger players, a lot of them are in that kind of $400 or $500 area or something like that. And if he got closer to where he was, just during the season, $700 or something like that. He's a little higher level target than most of those guys. It's like that might be a more reasonable price. So again, the risk reward sets up unfavorably. I will wait on that one. Tatis, downtrend persists, top of the range here, and again, he's right at the. I don't know if that's the bottom or not, but on valuation purposes, $400 for Tatis and what he was able to do last year, what he could do going forward, the track that he's on. Just compare him to other players. It's like that's a player that I'm scoping fairly hard at this point here. So bottom or not, I don't know, but just on regular price valuation, it's like, well, that's compared to what else you can get for $400 or $500. Like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me here. So, but the trend does remain down. It could go lower, and personally, I'm prepared for that. So, Corbin Carroll, before the season, this was a card you could get at least raw for like $100, and I was too cheap. I'd lowball and put in offers, and it's like, just sometimes just don't quibble too much. Just go for it. And now it's an $800 card. And that's graded in the Gem Mint 10, so a little different than raw or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty well defined uptrend here, and ticked off the bottom of that. So now you're in the middle of the range. It's very thin, and I think this is another player that you wait on for the most part, because if you look at players that were really hyped a few years ago, like the Luis Robert and the Bo Bichette, and Bo Bichette's on a terrific path. A lot of 25-year-olds would like to have his numbers, but he just gets supplanted by players coming up recently. And so Corbin Carroll, terrific rookie of the year. And in a couple of years, you may have like the Drew Joneses of the world, or Jackson Holiday, or some, sooner rather than later for Jackson Holiday. But you'll have other players come up, and he might be a little bit more out of sight, out of mind. And so, $800 again, I think you throw him in the basket of the $400 or $500 guys and wait on it. But right now, technically, middle of the range. And again, the market doesn't care what we think or anything like that. So middle of the range, and we'll see what happens there. But again, that's a wait for a better price type of deal here. Shohei Ohtani. These are some big boy cards here. These are the Bowman autographs. This is the pitching version, and I think it's got a little bit of room to go south here. So these are a different market. These are $10,000 cards, and so they're gonna be thin volume because not a lot of people are playing in that market or anything like that. So it's tough to find those clusters of a ton of buying or anything. So not at these levels, and so you can see that the trend is down. People are taking money off the table. They're looking at next year. Perhaps he's not pitching. That MVP is going to be a little bit harder to come by, but he'll still be plenty relevant. With the team that the Dodgers are putting together, but there's looks like there's a little bit more downside to come on that card. Could be another 15% or something like that. And so the next sale comes in, see if it holds this line. If not, then you're looking at significantly lower prices, $5,000-$6,000 or something like that, into this little buying cluster there, where people might say, missed it last time, I want to get back in here. The hitting version, kind of the same thing. Your only reference point comes way back in at the $10,000 level, and you're currently sitting at $13,000, which seems lofty. So you could see some significant downside on this one. So the trade hasn't really helped him a lot, but a lot of his cards are in a different stratosphere from what you and I are buying here. So 10,000 is at least your first line in the sand. See how that goes. Jordan Alvarez. top of the range, making his way to the bottom of the range. Plenty of, he's a terrific hitter, terrific talent. There's plenty of concerns about his longevity and his health, and so making the way to the bottom of the range here, where if you've been looking for this card, I think you're getting close to wanting to pick that up. Christian Yelich. This is why I like long-term charts. You have these reference points way back in the day here, and he ticked off that perfectly and got a rip, and so. If you're looking for this card, it's getting close to these reference points here, which are probably about 350 or something like that. This is a $230 card or something like that, so maybe it's like 300. I don't know. Getting close to that top point there. So if he's able to come out and replicate what he did last year, this is a player that had the Rookie of the Year MVP. He's got a couple of really nice 8-win seasons or something like that. And so if he's able to put up another, 4 close to 5-win season or something like that, I think he'll reestablish a little bit of relevance and maybe one of the better values on the board here. So there's a lot of questions there, and that's why he's cheap or something like that. But this is a pretty decent move, and if it came back into that 100, 150 area or something like that, that may be it may make a little bit more sense. And we'll wrap it up here with Aaron Judge. If this is a card you've been looking for, you had your spike out of the range, and now you are sitting back at this level of support, which was once resistance is now support, and here you are. So if it leaks back in here, then you're dropping back down to like a $700 card for the most part. But right now, this is where you buy it, I suppose, if that's what you're looking for. Personally, I'm not. I think if it came back into that 700 area or something like that, that may make a lot more sense. But I'm cheap, so that's how that goes. But yeah, the risk reward sets up pretty favorably on that Aaron Judge cards if that's what you're looking for. So that's what I got for you. I appreciate you watching, hanging out, and all that kind of good stuff. Love the comments, and have a great rest of the day. Take care.